On the edge of the Mediterranean Sea stands a small principality, vast in history. Its early origins are linked to a rock, which was not merely a natural landmark, but a strategically important defensive site that attracted people from ancient times, transforming it from a refuge into an impregnable fortress. Welcome to this new video in our series on the history of European countries, where today we delve into the history of Monaco. After the fall of the Roman Empire, the region became a battleground for political powers in the 14th and 15th centuries due to its crucial maritime location. Despite periods of instability and brief occupations, the most significant transformation occurred with the rise of the Grimaldi family, who consolidated their rule and laid the foundation for a principality whose name has remained synonymous with them for centuries. Thus, a small rock transformed into a sovereign state, a story of survival forged by geography and political acumen. According to the historian Diodorus Siculus and the geographer Strabo, the Ligurians inhabited this region for nearly 30,000 years. The first permanent settlers were mountain people from the League, who migrated from their native city of Genoa, Italy. However, the ancient Ligurian language, likely of Indo-European origin, is not directly related to the Italian dialect spoken by modern Ligurians. The Phoenicians were the first to frequent the port of Monaco, seafaring merchants seeking refuge from the fierce Mistral winds. They dedicated the port and the Rock of Monaco to their god Melkart. Later, the Greeks imbued the place with their mythology, linking its history to the exploits of Hercules. In the 6th century BC, the Greek Physion of Massalia founded the colony of Monaicus, named after Hercules, a name later adopted by the Romans. The construction of the ancient coastal road between Spain and Italy, adorned with altars and temples, was attributed to Hercules, and the port eventually became known as the Port of Hercules, where history and legend intertwine on the Rock of Monaco. The name Manichae, meaning one or one house in the Minoan language, may refer to Hercules, his temple, or the isolated community that inhabited the area surrounding the rock. Both the Greeks and the native Ligurians affirmed that Hercules passed through the region. After the Gallic Wars, Monaco, which had been a stop for Julius Caesar on his way to his campaigns in Greece, came under Roman control as part of the province of the Maritime Alps. The Roman poet Virgil called it Monica, overlooking the sea. It is said that Monica, formerly known as Monices, was haunted by the spirit of the goddess Alike, Culetra, either because Heracles banished all other gods and lived there alone, or because no other god was worshipped in his temple at the same time. No temple to Heracles has been found. Monaco's port is mentioned in Pliny, the Elder's Natural History, and in Tacitus's historical writings. During the Middle Ages, Fabius Valens was forced to place the port under Genoese control. Monaco remained under Roman rule until the collapse of the Western Roman Empire in 476. The city then fell to the Odoacres until it was captured by the Ostrogoths in the late 5th century. The Romans later recaptured Monaco. During Justinian's reign in the mid-6th century, the region remained under their control until it was invaded by the Lombards in the 7th century. The Lombards and Franks alternately ruled Monaco, but their raids left the region largely deserted. After the region was completely depopulated, the Saracens were expelled in 975, and by the 11th century the Ligurians had repopulated the area. In 1191, the Holy Roman Emperor Henry VI granted sovereignty over the region to Genoa, the ancestral homeland of the Ligurians. On June 10, 1215, a detachment of Genoese infantry, Ghibellines, was sent to Genoa. During the reign of Fulco del Castello, construction began on a fort atop the Rock of Monaco. This marked the beginning of modern Monaco, as the Ghibellines sought to make their fortress a strategic military stronghold and a centre of control over the region. They established a settlement around the base of the rock to support the garrison, and, in an effort to attract residents from Genoa and the surrounding towns, they offered land grants and tax exemptions to the new settlers. The rise of the Grimaldi family. The Grimaldi family descended from Otto Cannella and was named after his son, Grimaldo. They were an old and prestigious Genoese Guelph family. During the Genoese civil war between the Guelphs and Ghibellines, members of this family, along with other Guelph families, most notably the Fiasco, sought refuge in Monaco. Francesco Grimaldi seized the Rock of Monaco in 1297, establishing the Grimaldi dynasty under the sovereignty of the Republic. The Grimaldi family of Genoa acquired Menton in 1346 and Roquebrune in 1355. In 1338, the family expanded its holdings, and Monegasque ships, under the command of Carlo Grimaldi, participated alongside French and Genoese vessels in the naval campaign across the English Channel. The spoils of the sack of Southampton were returned to Monaco, contributing to the Principality's prosperity. Its ruler, the second Prince of Monaco, obtained recognition of his independent sovereignty from Spain in 1633, and later from Louis IX of France under the Treaty of Biron. From then on, the territory remained under the control of the Grimaldi family. Except for the period of French control during the French Revolution from 1793 to May 17, 1814, when it was part of the county of Océ-Marité, a protectorate of the Kingdom of Sardinia, the Principality was re-established in 1814 after the Congress declared it a protectorate of the Kingdom of Sardinia. In 1815, Monaco officially became a protectorate of Sardinia. This status lasted until 1860, when Sardinia, under the Treaty of Turin, ceded the surrounding county of Nice to France, while the protectorate continued for nearly half a century. Italian was the official language of Monaco, and the Monegasque dialect was closer to Ligurian than to French, though influenced by both. During this period, the cities of Menton and Roquebrune experienced unrest and declared their independence, hoping to join Sardinia and participate in the reorganization of Italy. The unrest continued until the ruling prince relinquished his claim to the two cities, which were ceded to France for 4 million francs. The Franco-Monegasque Federation recognized the cession of Monaco's sovereignty. Treaty of 1861, 19th century. Monaco had been declared a protectorate of the Kingdom of Sardinia in 1815 under the Congress of Vienna. After Napoleon's defeat, Monaco's sovereignty was reaffirmed. The 1861 treaty between France and Monaco recognized the Principality of Monaco, but annexed 95% of its former territory. From then on, France was responsible for Monaco's military defence. The Prince of Monaco was an absolute monarch until the Monaco Revolution of 1910 forced him to promulgate a constitution in 1911. The famous Monte Carlo Casino opened in 1863, organised by the Monaco Sea Aquarium Company, which also operated the Hôtel de Paris. The taxes paid by the company were invested in Monaco's infrastructure. Monaco experienced significant economic growth in the late 19th century with the construction of a railway connecting it to France. In July 1918, a treaty was signed establishing a limited French protectorate over Monaco. This treaty, incorporated into the Treaty of Versailles, stipulated that Monaco's policy would be: one of the motivations behind the treaty was to align with French political, military and economic interests, particularly in light of the impending Monaco succession crisis of 1918. Despite Prince Louis II's strong sympathies for France, he strove to maintain Monaco's neutrality during World War II, but ultimately supported the Vichy French government led by his former military colleague, Marshal Philippe Pétain. However, his tiny principality suffered from internal strife, partly due to Louis's indecisiveness, and also because a significant portion of the population were descendants of Roman legion soldiers, many of whom had supported Benito Mussolini's fascist regime in Italy. On November 11, 1942, the Italian army invaded and occupied Monaco, leading to a casino boom shortly thereafter. In September 1943, following Mussolini's fall in Italy, the German army occupied Monaco and began deporting its Jewish population. Among those targeted was René Blum, a prominent French Jewish figure and founder of the Monte Carlo Opera. Blum, the opera director, was arrested at his home in Paris and taken to the Drancy deportation camp outside the French capital. He was later transferred to Auschwitz, where he was killed. His colleague, Raoul Ginsberg, also director of the Monte Carlo Opera, managed to escape to Switzerland in August 1944 with the help of the French resistance. The Germans executed René Bourrini, Joseph-Henri Legault, and Esther Baggio, leaders of the resistance, who were carrying out secret orders from Prince Louis. The Monaco police, often at their own risk, warned individuals of planned arrests by the Gestapo. Monaco experienced one of its most critical moments of the 20th century during World War II. On September 3, 1944, the Principality was officially liberated with the withdrawal of German troops, ending years of tension and indirect occupation and beginning a new phase of regaining sovereignty and stability in a rapidly changing post-war Europe. In 1949, Prince Rainier III ascended the throne of Monaco following the death of his grandfather, Prince Louis II. Rainier's reign marked a pivotal turning point in the Principality's history, transforming it from a small conservative entity into a modern state striving to consolidate its political and social institutions and enhance its international presence. One of the most significant achievements of this era was the amended Constitution of 1962, which represented a qualitative leap in Monaco's constitutional history. The Constitution abolished the death penalty, granted women the right to vote, and established a high court to guarantee fundamental freedoms and protect constitutional rights. It also strengthened the laws concerning the residency of French citizens in Monaco, a move aimed at safeguarding the demographic balance and national sovereignty of the Principality. With Monaco's growing presence on the international stage, 1993 marked another historic milestone when the Principality joined the United Nations as a full member with voting rights, thus solidifying its position as a sovereign state in the international community, despite its small geographical size. At the beginning of the 21st century, specifically in 2002, a new treaty was signed between France and Monaco, redefining the relationship between the two parties. The treaty stipulated that in the absence of an heir to the throne, Monaco would remain an independent state and would not be annexed by France, as had been previously stipulated. However, France would continue to bear responsibility for the Principality's military defence within the framework of a long-standing strategic partnership. In 2005, Prince Albert II ascended the throne, succeeding his father, Prince Rainier III, continuing the process of modernization and openness, with a clear focus on environmental issues, international diplomacy, and enhancing Monaco's image as a modern state, with influence far exceeding its geographical size. Today, Monaco is known globally not only for its unique political history, but also for its mild climate, stunning Mediterranean scenery, and high-end leisure facilities, making it one of the world's most popular tourist and economic destinations, and an exceptional example of a small state that has successfully consolidated its sovereignty and forged its identity through centuries of transformation. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.